Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the Waterboro Board of Selectmen's meeting. Everybody would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would just like to remind folks who live in Waterboro and own property that now's the time to sign up for the Town of Waterboro Tax Club. If you're not familiar with the Tax Club, it's a program that lets you make monthly payments on your property taxes. You have to fill out an application, and the start date for it is in September. Applications are due by September 1st. And if anybody's interested, they can see our tax collector Sharon out at the front desk. Is there anybody here that would like to be heard under hearing a delegation this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move right along to appointments. Chief Deputy King of the York County Sheriff's Office is here this evening for a presentation.
Actually, the sheriff was going to start the presentation.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to address the board tonight. First and foremost, I want to apologize for not being here the other night when you did an honoring school resource officer. I was out of town and unfortunately I wasn't able to attend. So I want to apologize for not making that. And I also wanted to take this opportunity to tell the board that had the opportunity to meet with your new manager the other day. Sat down, we had a great conversation, went out to lunch, talked about some different things. He asked a lot of questions, I asked questions, and I think that's a very healthy way to begin a relationship. One of the things that we talked about and we're going to be doing is Sean and the manager, when their schedules will get together, are going to take a ride, and Sean's going to show them around town and give him an opportunity to take a look at what's going on out there and everything, and I think that'll be beneficial for both sides. The other reason I wanted to come this evening, and the chief's going to do the presentation, you took the opportunity to honor our school resource officer for all the good work that he's done, and I certainly appreciate that, and I know he did. However, tonight we wanted to talk just a little bit and take a couple of minutes to talk to you about, and I think you already know this, about the deputy that you have here and a lot of the things that he does, a lot of the good things that he does, and some of the things that have been going on in town over the last few weeks. And I think it's important that we keep the board up to date. I know Sean reports back to you and everything, but on occasions I think it's important that I show my face, the chief deputy does, and my new patrol commander, Tom Barron, who actually runs the patrol. So again, thank you very much for allowing us a couple of minutes here to talk with you, and I'll have Chief King do his presentation and we'll move along. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Dennis, can we get that first slider? I forgot his name, I'm sorry. Dave. All right.
Can you do a little soft shoe while we're waiting?
I can tell jokes, but they say they're not very funny. But as the sheriff said, though, is we did want to take that time. You know, we came up and you folks were very gracious to give a. If you just put that slideshow from the beginning, that'd be great. There you go, great. You know, and you can just make a couple of clicks, please. Yeah, I mean, Waterboro is very important to us. And, you know, it's the first town that we entered into a contract with, and it started in 2005. And if you look at the map of York County, in our area, patrol area of responsibility, Waterboro is right central. Next slide, please. And we feel that with Sean Sanborn, next slide, please, David, please. And just make a couple of clicks. I'm not that fancy. Now, I think what's important is that with Waterboro, we've got almost 58 square miles, and the population here is increasing. And I looked at the median income, and it's about, next slide, you can do another click. So I think we're about $9,000 more than the average Maine median income. I think what that is telling me is that Waterboro residents are sophisticated, that their earning potential is a little bit above what the Maine standard is, and it is an area that's growing rapidly. Next slide, David. And we have one contract deputy, and we really feel that we've got the right guy on the right bus in the right seat because of the work that he does here. We think so much of Sean that he was recently assigned as a field FTO, field training officer, because we want other deputies, our new deputies, to work in the same manner that Sean does. A couple of clicks, David, please. And the contract will gives you 40 hours of dedicated service, and in 2012, that's the latest information that we have, it was over 4,600 calls for service. Now, Sean didn't handle all of those, but I guarantee you, every day when he goes to work, he'll look at the calls and he's focused on what happened in Waterboro. Next slide. A couple of more clicks. We do have, Waterboro, we do have a number of arrests, a number of investigations. It's a busy community. It's kind of the transfer point. Almost all roads cross through into Waterboro. And unfortunately, that brings the bad guys in this area too. People typically commit crimes where they're comfortable. People are comfortable in Waterboro because this is where the stores are, this is where they go to eat restaurants and things like that. So Sean does have his hands full. Next slide, please. And get a couple more clicks, David. And Sean epitomizes community policing. This is what the sheriff's office, we are a service-oriented police department. And he has those basic tenets of community policing. And those basic tenets are, he does it through community partnerships. He knows almost every store owner in this community. He does it, and we try, from the sheriff's office, to do it through organizational transformation. We try to give him those tools in that time to foster those relationships. And we believe he does do it through problem solving. I really like to use the thing that just happened at Lakeside Market. Even though it wasn't Sean's specific case, it happened over the night shift and he came on duty. The deputy that did solve that was Deputy Jones. But I kept talking to Jones during that investigation. I'm sure you're all familiar with somebody that backed into a pump, and within hours he had it, the person identified and was able to basically make the arrest the following day. And during that time, I was talking to Deputy Jones, saying, "Gee, have you talked to Sanborn?" He said, "The guy won't stop calling me. He was constantly at Lakeside. He was looking at those videos. He was giving some advice." And so he was actively involved in that, and that's what we want. Next slide, please, David. A couple more clicks. Sean lives in the community. Sean has ownership in Waterboro. He recreates in the community. His Facebook page has over 500 followers. He didn't really want me to mention this. He's very humble, and he's going, "What are you going to talk about, Chief?" But, he has worked. There was several incidents, and I can recall one where we had a person that was missing, and Sergeant Chevette was on the job. He was coordinating the search, and I remember hearing on the radio, 23 is also out there. Well, I knew Sean wasn't working. And then when I called him up, I said, "Dave, what's the, I think you're wrong." He said, No, he came out. He's off duty, but he's out there searching for this person, what have you. He also participated in the arrest that he was off duty. He takes pride in Waterboro. Next slide. And I got this tree. This is a broken tree from the middle school. Now, he did that report, he solved this crime, which I think it was in the newspaper the other day, where kids went up and they snapped a couple of trees and they broke a window when they were trying to knock out the surveillance camera. But when I talked to him, I said, "Well, Sean," I said, "they broke some trees, so, what do you mean they broke some trees?" "Oh, I got a picture of it." And he sent me 2 pictures of the broken trees. That shows that he took that serious. A lot of deputies would say, "Yeah, a couple of broken trees, just write that down." Not Sean. He took the picture, he's talking to the custodian. How much did those trees cost? And he found out that they were $500 a piece. $500 to buy a fully mature tree and to plant it. So that's $1,000 worth of damage that I'm sure that Sean's going to try to get back through restitution. And this is an incident that happened just a couple of weeks ago. Can you click on that little microphone, Dave? Oh, okay.
Waterboro Fire Department looking for a deputy to respond 20 Timber Lane, 20 Timber Lane, 18-year-old patient.
What you heard, there was a call in Waterboro assigned to a different deputy.
Had an allergic reaction, believe she may have smoked something.
She took something, she was having a reaction. Sean was en route home. He had already worked 20 minutes past his shift, or almost an hour past his shift, on another call.
25 to 9, where are you? I'll kind of know that my neighbors want to secure that, so you got there. That'd be great.
Just a copy, sir.
What you just heard was Sean was headed home, and the call came in. And he was familiar with the family. And there was a person in medical distress. He's on his way home. He's already past duty. He found out, where's the other deputy coming from? In Sean's mind, that other deputy was too darn far away. So he said, I'll get out there. I'm headed home, but I'm going to put me on that call. I want to go there, and I'll do it, and I'll secure the scene until the paramedics come there. And I think that's what the sheriff, that's what he wants. That's what we all want at the York County Sheriff's Office, is for people to have ownership, to really care about the community. And I think that you have that with Sean Sanborn. And I appreciate the time that you let me go on and sing his praises. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else, gentlemen?
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I can say I was on the hiring panel that hired Sean on as the contract deputy, and John Gale was as well. And I think that the citizens of Waterboro have been very well served by Deputy Sanborn. It is very obvious that he cares very much about the community, about the people in the community, about what's happening here. I don't know how often, he and I talk about bouncing ideas off of each other or whatnot. So I think that Waterboro is very lucky to have a contract deputy that does care so much about our community. So good job, Sean.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I have a question of Morris. Who paid for the lunch, Morris?
What's the answer, Gary?
I left the tip.
All right.
He left the tip, I bought lunch.
Sean, did you want to say anything?
I was told I didn't have to say anything.
Oh, wow.
You go right ahead.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Want me to get up and say something?
Sure.
I didn't plan on saying anything, so bear with me.
Lock your cars. That's all.
Yeah, don't dump on Chadbourne Ridge. I just had a couple more instances of that and got the guy, but that's another story. All I'm going to say is Tom Hanks said it very well in the Green Mile. It's about talking to people. That's it. That's all I got. It's about talking to people. Any questions for me? Mr. Gale.
We've talked before, and I know you've mentioned that one person, the job is too big for one here, and that there's, with the things that are going on here that a lot of people don't know about, that we have grown, and the question is now, are we looking at a second officer? And if so, it's right around the corner as far as coming up with budgeting for it. So is that in the wind? Are you talking with Gary about that?
That's more of an administrative question. I'm going to defer that to the sheriff or Chief King. But I can say something about it. I will say before the sheriff gets up, demographics-wise, we are very similar to the town of Buxton. And Buxton's got a 10-person police department, 10 full-time people that cater to that town. And I used to work there, and I was quite busy there. And that's having 2 people on usually during a shift, covering the north part of town and the south part of town. Here you have 1 dedicated person, similar everything, similar population, similar businesses, similar land mass, and we are far, far behind Buxton as far as that goes. I feel Waterboro has relied too much on the rural county patrol to meet its needs. It's gone on too long, and the population has grown way beyond, the basic service. Having 1 contract deputy is better than 1 dedicated person. It's better than, say, none for this size, but it's still not enough, and I think something's going to be done. I'll defer the rest to the administration.
John, I've been to the board a couple of times, and we've had this discussion and everything. You're pretty close to 8,000 people, 4,700 calls for service. Gary and I, when we met the other day, had a conversation. I'll be very candid with you. I'm not here tonight to stand up and tell you that, we need to bring in 5, 6, 7 others. But I certainly think it's probably time for us to have conversations about at least another person to start working our way up toward that. Because at some point in time, the crunch time comes along, and there's just so much going on. This weekend, Sunday night, we were out here again, and somebody cranked a gun in somebody's face and stole a backpack, and we charged them with armed robbery. Back in the day when I first started, if something like that happened 100 miles away, everybody went, because that was almost unheard of. Today we're dealing with that almost every day. I mean, it's a different type of thing. And with the drug problem that we have here in this county, per capita, York County is the worst county in the state per capita as far as pharmaceuticals go. And if you take a look at a lot of the burglaries that we're working on, solving and everything else, they all have that pharmaceutical or drug piece attached to it, because people are trying to support their habits and everything, and breaking into houses and trying to do that. So we're trying very, very diligently to try to provide the best service we can. But when you're inundated with the number of people that we have, and the growing area and everything else, it's I think a good move to have a conversation about moving forward. And I'm not advocating for a large amount, but a second person would really, really help. Because again, like the other night at Lakeside, the deputy did a great job and ended up clearing that case, but Sean was on the phone with him back and forth. Check this. Have you done this? This guy lives here. That guy lives there. And that's what community policing is all about. He's got the buy-in, and that's why we thought it was important to talk with you tonight about that. Is because the average officer, sometimes people say, well, gee, all we have to do is call and somebody will show up. But when somebody shows up, what are they going to do if there's no evidence at the scene but a burglary? My guess is, and it's not a guess, but it's fact, generally when there's a crime committed in Waterboro and Sean goes up to it, he can probably aim the right direction and have a pretty darn good idea who's involved in this, the way it was done, the location it's in, and so on and so forth. And that's what community policing is all about, and that's what we really push. So, I'd be more than happy to have conversations, and I have talked to Gary briefly about it. We can talk about grants, we can talk about a lot of things, but I think really at this point in time, it's probably it would be a good idea to start talking about it at least. Okay.
Anything else? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, moving on to the agenda, correspondence. In our packets this week, we have the treasurer's report, Representative Libby's newsletter, the assessor agent's August 2013 calendar, and a letter from the town attorney to the planning board regarding regulation of water district wells. Moving on to reports and staff initiatives, we have a report from RSU 57, and I see Mary Ross and Heather Silver here.
That time again.
As the kids all cringe because school is only a few short weeks away.
Yeah, it's been a long summer, I know personally in my family, but we're getting there, so. Actually, the superintendent kind of drafted something for me because I didn't know all the details and I didn't want to mix anything up here. But the big thing that's happening that concerns definitely our town is water. The water at the elementary school. So he said the town of Waterboro is very much involved with the effort to bring water up to the Waterboro Elementary School. Yesterday there was a pre-bid meeting with prospective bidders. It appears this project has created interest and some 8 firms attended the meeting. Bids will go out later this week and the town selectmen will eventually award the project at the end of the month. As a part of the project, we will need to find a place at the elementary school for the eventual winner to stage materials and equipment. Additionally, we are told there will be a couple of days when the connection to the school is made that the construction firm will need to cut the pavement and this will disrupt the traffic flow for the buses. We'll need to address this and we'll develop an alternative plan when that happens. This phase of the project will be done by October 15th, hopefully earlier. That's their wish. The interior work at the elementary school is progressing and the firm is scheduled to be done next week. We will then send in a large team to ready the school, of course. Some staff want to be there now, but obviously they've been told that they just have to wait. It's not safe. The town recreation program has been at the East Building this summer and all's gone well. No problems there. They suspect if there's a desire they can either be there next year or back to the elementary school, whichever they prefer. He praised Mr. Lamb. He said he's been an instant success with the district office staff, and he's been a wonderful addition to the town office. And if you haven't met yet, we have a new business manager. Dee LaBelle's last day was July 31st, and our new business manager is Colin Walsh. And Colin was actually part of the auditing team that we've had in our district for many years. The owner is retired and didn't want to do that anymore, so he's very qualified and he's very aware of the school and what we have and the money and everything. That's all his report is because there's really not much more than that happening. He did give us a listing of all of the meetings. I didn't know if you wanted them or not.
Sure.
If you want that. So our first meeting is August, I think it's 28th, right, Heather?
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing, Susan Prince, we have a new special ed director. Donna Ford retired last year, so she's been up to her ears with stuff, and he said that there's a lot of hiring going on due to retirements, people moving away, mostly out of state, and a lot of going to different districts. So they're in the, I'm sure, and Heather I know has sat in on a lot of hiring things. That's all I have as far as that goes.
Yeah, and I don't have much of anything else to, I mean, this summer we're not meeting.
Right.
The only thing that currently has been meeting over the summer is a parent advisory group that the curriculum director had started to get parent input and feedback on the direction we're going as a district with our education and curriculum. And that's gone well. We've met in June and July. Our next meeting is August 20th. And we covered, at the first meeting, it was more about what's working and what's not working, hearing parents' concerns, and discussing them. A lot of misinformation that gets out there and trying to dispel that. At the last meeting, we took our vision statement, broke it down, and just discussed all the parts of it and what makes sense, what doesn't, what parents may not understand, and trying to figure out where we need to simplify or get a little more detail, whatever works. So that's what we've done so far with the parents. So.
If a parent is interested in joining that group, how would they go about that?
They just need to email Lisa Dearborn at rsu57.org and let her know that they would like to be involved. She'll send them the minutes from the last 2 meetings. It was publicized in the Reporter. I don't know if they put it anywhere else, but back in June. And it is on the district website. So it's open to anyone and everyone. So, and we have not just Waterboro, but parents from all schools and all levels also. So it's a good span to try and gather information.
Great. Any questions?
The deputy said that the tree was $500. I find that a very expensive tree. I mean, I think you probably could get a tree for less than $500.
I'm sure you could have. That was all part of that construction of the new building when.
And it may be what it would cost to replace a tree
Yeah.
at the size that it's at now, you know, to replace what was there.
I
You
mean,
know what
I
I
can
mean, as it
actually,
grows,
yeah.
they're more expensive as you get a more developed tree. I don't know if that's.
We can
what-
actually get the cost. I'll email the superintendent when I get home. He can pull out all the files for that. That was all done when that was part of the whole exterior and the whole contract that the state okayed and didn't okay and stuff. So I'm sure he's got all of that in the office that we can get the exact price of the tree.
Well, that brings up another issue. I've asked several times for different information, 3 as a matter of fact, and I believe the superintendent was one of them, said, I'll get the information for you. I've never received anything from SAD or RSU 57 on what I've asked for.
Is there some, we can try again. I mean, what is it specifically
It's
that
hard
you're
to-
looking for? I
Well,
mean,
there's
all
a-
we can do is pass it on to him, and he says he's gonna get to you. I mean, we hope that that's what he's doing. If he's not, then we'll have a conversation.
Well, one was without Ed. The
I
cost
thought
of-
he said that he sent that to you,
Well, if he
and
did,
that he had a discussion with you. He told me that.
I didn't get any information from
Okay,
Ed.
well, because there was one meeting that he came to,
Yes,
that
he
he
did.
had a discussion of adult ed.
Yeah.
And I thought
And the
that,
numbers, yeah.
I
I
thought
think
that
I
he
was
had,
CC'd on that
Yeah.
actually. So that information was emailed out at that time.
I don't know where it was emailed. I never got it.
see, I don't know when that was either, because he CC'd all the Waterboro board members when he sends anything to you guys, he CC's us too, so we're aware of it. So I'm sure he could probably pull that out and resend it.
Okay.
Okay, when I get home, I'll email him.
I might even have it. I
Yeah.
might be able to.
That's all.
Okay, and we'll find out about the tree cost if you'd like.
Anybody
I'm sure I
else?
got the information.
I think they dug the hole one of those Navy shovels, where they have the $200
There were a lot of things with that bill that we didn't have a lot of control of. Because there were things we wanted to change, but because of the states, and in order to get some of that money back, and yeah,
You'd
we
be
call it the money
surprised.
pit right now.
Be surprised though, you go to like O'Doul's Nursery or something,
Well, I
and
think-
the trees are quite expensive, because we were looking at putting some in our yard, and it was like, God,
And
Not
the
that.
maturity of the tree,
Yeah.
it's more
Yeah.
expensive.
Well,
The
then my
larger.
property must be worth $100 million.
It is.
It must be.
It's like one of your beef critters, if you base it on buying steak, it's worth $25,000. Right?
all right, thank you very much, ladies.
Thanks.
I know if someone cuts a tree on your property and you hit them, you're entitled to treble damages under the state law. So 3 times the value of the tree, you have to have a forester come in. But
Moving on, General Assistance Administrative Report and discuss vote on the General Assistance Ordinance and proposed amendments.
Which one would you like first?
Start from the top.
All right, we'll continue with last week's then. Last week we had started on the new numbers, and now we wanted to find out a few things. I believe you all received a letter that I typed up. So basically, which direction do you want to go? Do you want to do the housing survey?
It would appear that we're SOL, right? Unless we just,
So, from the letter that you wrote, basically, what they're suggesting is, first of all, if you don't accept it,
You will go
you're
into
not gonna
non-compliance.
get the 50% reimbursed.
Correct.
If we move forward with doing a housing survey, we have to have it done by October 1st.
Yes, that's when the new numbers for the housing area takes effect. So it would have to be done, submitted, and approved by October 1st.
So we would have to get that done right away so that they would have time to review it. And
Correct.
and that would have to show a significant departure from, today we're in a group of think it was Buxton,
We're in a very small group, yeah.
right, but it's, Sanford, I think, is in.
Yeah, we have Acton, Alfred, Arundel, Biddeford, Cornish, Dayton, Kennebunkport, Lebanon, Limerick, Lyman, Newfield, North Berwick, Ogunquit, Parsonsfield, Saco, Sanford, Shapley, Waterboro, and Wells. Are all in one.
So you have to look at the housing cost of Waterboro as compared to that pool of, what it is compared to that pool of housing, right?
Yeah, they'd want it all put on an Excel spreadsheet and submitted, very detailed out.
So, might change by $1.50 a month or something, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't think it'd be too significant given the communities that are involved.
No.
It'd be
And
cost more
and
than-
I think really the question last week was, you know, why do we have to keep ratcheting this up, 2-3% per year, right?
Right.
And I guess the answer is that based
State
on the
says we have
infinite
to.
wisdom of our legislators, we have a state law that says you either ratchet it up or we no longer participate with you.
Right.
And the only thing that you can do on your own is housing.
Housing, correct.
So does that put to bed the housing survey then in everybody's mind?
I think that we have to vote, don't we, to
Right.
accept this, so would the chair entertain a motion?
Yep, and it would have to be from somebody who voted last week not to move forward, so.
And there was three of us, which I was one, so I'll make a motion that we accept the state's plan and adopt it into our ordinance, as has been the custom in the past.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
4-1.
4-1.
Do you still have the papers that need to be signed?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I would also just like to follow up, and I'd like to ask Gary to keep a list of different issues like this. And there's been many that has come up over time that we could talk to our legislators, all right? And it's just like the school, I've had different issues, time goes on, I forget half of what I asked, and then it just goes by the wayside, nothing's done. And I'm sure we can bring Aaron, Libby, and John Tuttle in here, and we might as well stream into the ocean, because nothing's gonna get done by it. But at least we can be heard.
To change, to modify the increases?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, again, here's Augusta and the federal government telling us what we gotta do, and we have no flexibility.
And the rates,
And
rates all
they're
increased.
screaming about taxes and increases, and yet they hand it on to us,
And the rates that we looked at last week are all in excess of the consumer price index.
And it's like the sheriff's department. I find it hard to believe that the median income is $54,000 in Waterboro. Now, either there's a bunch of rich bastards in town that I don't know about.
That's in the census. They're pulling that right out.
I just don't buy it. I really don't buy it.
Anything else, Nancy? Next is the report for GA for the month.
Okay.
Or quarter. Let's see. This year, from June 30th of 2012 or July 1st to June 30th, 2013, we have handled 118 cases, which last year we did 182, so it's dropped significantly. 301 people last year was 435, so it's getting better around town, or a lot of them are moving. Our rent for this year was $42,680.05 compared to last year at $55. Oil was $10,865 compared to last year at $13,600. Food has dropped amazingly. It was $1,251 last year, only $343 this year. More people are getting onto food stamp situations or finding all the pantries. Household and personal went from 25 down to 21. There really isn't many other sources out there for that, so they do still come to us for that. Central Maine Power went from 3,100 down to 2,000. Propane went up a little bit. We only had a new person this year that heated with propane, who's no longer on our system, has got a job and moved on, so that's good. Went from 180 up to 459. And last year we had 1,545 in funerals, and this year we had none, which was great. So the total for the year was $58,501.15. And that's pretty much it. This month alone, we've only had seven applications for the month of July. So it's slowed down. It won't pick back up until probably October, November. So that's about it.
Any questions for Nancy?
Just last year, I think we had a discussion of $10,000 that we're spending on fuel oil. It seems fairly insignificant when you look at the grand scheme of things. And we looked at what was coming from fuel assistance, as well as, you know, the money donated by WAB and those things. So kind of as we go forward, can you at least maybe keep, and I know that that set of books
That all
might not be
starts
as
in the fall.
accurate, but we ought to know how much
Yeah.
fuel oil is being, how much fuel assistance is being
Sure.
spent in this community, not just our
We will be
general
starting
assistance. But
the appointments for September. So that's when things will start. We'll start getting some numbers at that point. Most donations don't come in until about November.
But Yucca
So
has all
we'll
of that
keep all-
information, so it ought to be a simple request out of them to say, can you give us a monthly
And it did last
report?
year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we kind of
requested
went
it and they
back,
sent us
but
a
you know, if
paper.
it was a routine thing of, okay, this is what the town spent, but it would just give us some pulse of, is it getting better, getting worse, or, you know, because we know that as the price changes, that'll change as well, but it's a good data point to know how much fuel assistance is really being spent in the town of Waterboro.
Okay, will do.
Also,
The 58,000 for FY 12-13, how does that compare with the total for the previous year?
I'm sorry, what? I didn't hear the last part.
You had individual totals for the last 2 years.
Yes,
The 58,000 is for 12-13.
correct.
What's the previous year total?
77,928. I brought with me back 4 years. Before that, it was 127,968 for 10 and 11, and it was 114,15 in 2009-10. So it's
Down a lot.
dropped a lot.
A lot of that, it was the rent.
Yeah.
I think the rent was a
It was
big
huge.
piece.
Yeah, yeah. The rent back in 9 and 10, when everything started happening, everybody was losing their jobs and whatnot. We were at $81,000, and we're down to 42. So we've cut it just about in half.
Could you burn a copy of that, put it on my chair, please, for
Absolutely.
the minutes? Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else?
with the fuel assistance, can we ask them to allow our CEO to come in and go through their place for weatherproofing and stuff?
York County Community Action does have a program for that. If the people will allow them, when they sign up for fuel assistance with LIE, that is a question that they're asked if they want somebody to come in and check them for weatherization. And then 211 United Way steps in as well and helps to actually put up the plastic and the insulation if needed. And they do have programs for that. It's through the York County Community Action.
Okay.
If you want them to come here as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think if we're buying fuel, we ought to be able to try to help conserve the heat in their home.
And Mark certainly is capable of
Well,
doing
he's-
that in office.
Yeah, he wants to do
Correct,
it.
yeah, he's qualified for that, so that's absolutely. Okay, anything else?
All right, I think that's it.
All right,
Thank you, Nancy. Next on the agenda is the town clerk report and discuss vote on change in location of the voting place. And I see you brought pretty new equipment with you this
We have a
evening.
new flower pot thing, I guess. I'm going to start with my report first because I have a lot of questions and things I want to do with elections. So I'm going to start with my vital records report. This is the third quarter vital records report. We had 136 certifieds done. We sent a check up to Augusta for vital records for $294, and we kept $1,806.20 in our general fund. The dogs for the last quarter, 60 dogs, and $120 went into our general fund. 18 marriage licenses, 32 birth certificates. The new EDS is now going to start putting birth certificates online. So it's going to be more crucial that all of us get trained for taking them offline, off vital records. We called probably 75 to 100 people that had licensed their dogs, and the state sent us down the rabies. And of that, we've only had 12 people come in and license their dogs, so we still have a huge number of dogs not licensed that are rabied in the town of Waterboro.
What has the animal control officer done for follow-up on that?
We just did this last week. It's been the last week and a half that we've got this all done. I have to call Wade, we have talked about it, he needs to come in and look at the list. And then he'll start calling them. After that, you guys will make a decision as which direction we're going to take.
So how long do we have to wait for this?
Make a decision today if you want to summons all those dogs. We can summons them, that's the next step. Usually what we do is we let Wade make all these phone calls, see how many more we can get in, and then he can start knocking on doors and handing out summonses. Summonses are extremely expensive to the customer, to the dog owner. And it's a little bit on the high side for us because now we have Wade down sitting in the courts. Unless you decide I'm going to do it. And I really like Wade doing it.
Well, I think we should let him do it, but I don't think we should just dilly-dally around afterwards. I mean, there's been a lot of rabies cases around different parts of Maine. It's a public safety thing. So I say we follow up.
Okay. Dr. Will?
Yep.
Okay. Last fall I came in and told you that the state was going to give us new voting equipment. We finally received our DS-200. We got the box and the new computer, which, as I gave you guys, a laptop. It's going to be a new laptop that goes into this. Eventually, I think we're going to see it all go up electronically at the end of the night. We'll be able to push a button and go. Dave's got a 2-minute presentation on this, and then we'll go further.
Voting on the DS-200 is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1. Mark your selections. A poll worker will issue you a paper ballot. Take your ballot to the designated polling booth. You may also be given a privacy sleeve, which will protect your selections from view, so you can cast your ballot in complete privacy. Be sure to use the marking device which was given to you. As a first step, you will need to completely fill in the oval next to your selection, and avoid making any other marks on your ballot. It is important that you mark your ballot properly to ensure that your votes are counted correctly. Make sure to mark your selection in all the races in which you intend to vote, selecting no more than the number of choices allowed. Step 2. Review your selections. Review your selections marked on the paper ballot. If you are satisfied, take your ballot to the DS-200 digital image scanner. Step 3. Cast your ballot. The display screen will provide instructions on how to insert your ballot into the tray. The DS-200 accepts ballots in any orientation. For example, you can insert the ballot upside down or backwards. It will then draw your ballot into the unit and give you feedback on the scanning process. A prompt will appear if no marks are detected, or if you've selected more than the number of choices allowed. If you'd like to change your selections, press Return Ballot on the touchscreen, and your ballot will be returned. You may need to ask a poll worker to give you a new ballot. If you prefer to cast your ballot as is, select Cast Your Ballot with Mistakes on the touchscreen. If your ballot is filled out properly, it automatically will be accepted, and the display screen will notify you once it has been cast successfully. The DS-200 Digital Image Scanner, a simple-to-use yet cutting-edge solution. For more information, visit ESSvote.com.
So that's how that works.
So we're gonna have just one system?
Yep. I guess, you mean one tabulator?
Yeah.
Oh, we have none.
I asked if I could have 2, and I was told I could have 1. So we can still have time to look into this.
Yeah. I guess, whereas right now, people are just feeding the ballot in and they're walking away. Now this is more interactive.
More interactive and more timely, correct. You're right.
So people are going to be waiting in line longer to actually put their ballot through.
Yep. We got this machine, we got the ballot box, the carrying case, the DS-200, and a shipping box to ship things back. I did order a 4 gig flash drive, which would be our second flash drive. So if we want 2 boxes, we can have one for the town ballot and one for the state ballot. And what they did in the trial and error is they discovered some people put them in the wrong ballot box. So they key up both flash drives to accept either ballot. I mean, you obviously try to steer them left and right, but if it happens they make a mistake, it's still going to get counted.
And needless to say, nothing that we have currently will work in that new system.
Right.
So
Now,
you can't use the current system as a backup.
no. Current system is gone. The state owned it and they took it.
What is the backup? What is the fail-safe for this?
You mean
I don't know. I have a meeting on Thursday. A training with them on Thursday. The fail-safe to me is going to be, if this doesn't work, then we're counting ballots by hand.
You still have your paper ballot.
Yep, we'll still have our paper
Right.
ballot. We'll still have those ballots to count by hand at the end of the night. I mean, that's
So the real question is there, and has there been a study in this company that you just had up here?
This is the
this
company
very nice
we've used. This is-
PSA, right? Or this ad that they just had up there. What is the flow of people through that ballot? How many people per hour can go through that system?
I have an answer for you Thursday morning after training.
That would be a variable, wouldn't it, depending on whether or not they made a mistake.
I
or-
know
Yeah, but
that.
I mean, there's got to be some
Something-
statistical data that would suggest 5% of the people make mistakes. So you know, I mean,
I know that this system has been in a trial phase at the state level for over 5 years. All our AVCA voters, all our overseas voters, all our military people, all of those ballots, regardless, all the state ballots go right up to them. This system has been used for 5 years. Actually, they tried 2, and this was the best out of the 2 they selected. So the whole state of Maine has this. Everybody has this. A couple of towns decided not to take it. They'll hand count, but we have accepted it because we have a lot of ballots.
but if you look at the dilemmas that we've had in the past, even before you were here, but you've been through one presidential, but the dilemmas that we've had, and Dave's been kind of involved in those because it's always a glitch with the voting machine, right? And there's no alternative.
Well,
So what you've got is that you've got a voting machine that gets constipated, or whatever you want to call it, right? And you can't get anything through it, so it's...
And I agree. And last year's for the presidential, we could have had it, but we chose not to be a pilot place.
Yeah.
So now we're not the pilot place. This is our machine.
So
I don't think we're going to have the problems we had before.
So
Our
who-
machine
who
is
was the
20 years
pilots?
old.
Who were the pilots? It'd be nice to talk to those clerks.
I believe one was Gorham, Portland,
Did Saco?
and Waterville.
Was Saco pilot?
Saco might have pilot.
I almost think they might have.
I know that the people that used it raved about it and are still raving about it.
Yep.
There was some tweaks. Key got broke in one of the lock boxes and they couldn't open it up.
Anything is going to be better than that monster that we had, I think. My concern is
I would have counted to take that monster out of here.
the efficiency of,
I hear you.
because this is interactive, how much time is it going to take people to get through that line?
Yep, and that's what I have for question. I can have an answer
It's like
to you
the
again next Tuesday.
self-checkout line at the Home Depot.
It's absolutely right. If you know how to run that computer,
It
you're out
always
of there. If
runs
you don't, you're there for an
much faster
hour.
than having a telephone. Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
you know, the other thing too is that you instruct people to fill in the oval. Don't make an X. Don't make a check mark. And there's going to be a certain percentage of people not going to hear it, not going to read it, not going to change. Going to put the X in a check mark anyway. So the inflexibility of the system to accept, if you put an X there, to accept that X it
what
could be a
happens
problem.
with those? If they say they want their vote to be accepted the way it is, we will push that button and it will go on the left or right side. I'm not sure which way it will go. And we'll hand count those at the end of the night. If their intent is to vote for Mr. Jones and it's an X, Mr. Jones is going to be counted at the end of the night, but it's going to be counted by hand.
This was tested in Florida by any chance.
I'm not at liberty to discuss that.
So it would be interesting.
I'm excited.
It would be interesting to find out what would be involved in getting a second unit.
Machine.
Yeah. what's the backup plan if, you know, if we've got it the next big election and everybody's using these machines and somebody goes broke, is there somewheres in the state one that is a floating machine? Or
I'm sure that if I call, in the middle of the day, I called Julie Flynn and said, ours is now broke. It is the only one we have. She would tell me to start putting them in the locked box. Take the machine off, keep that a locked box, open it up, drop your ballots.
Yeah.
Continue to drop your ballots until the state sent the marshal down here with the new machine.
Does the state have backup machines?
Yes. I do know that answer. So on Thursday...
What's the vulnerability of that machine if it has all that technical data during transportation? How do you transport that to the site?
It's transported in that box. That box has a lock and a combination to which we don't have yet. We'll have those on Thursday.
But now, when we're talking the box, we're talking just the suitcase on top or the
This
thing on
suitcase
wheels?
on top. This is just the ballot box. This is just the gray ballot box, like the big blue one we had. The machine is in here, and we can't get it out until we get the combination, which we'll have Thursday. And the reason they kept the
How do you
combination...
transport the bigger unit?
This?
No, the one below that.
just like they did the other
Just
one.
like we did before.
It's
We
the same
followed
size,
that.
same size as the other one, right?
No, this is actually smaller than the other one.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit, it's like 2 inches taller, but it's a whole lot smaller than the other one. And this one, I'm hoping that in my budget I can get the wheelie gig that you put this on wheels and wheel it around. This is a heavy unit. Heavy unit. This needs to stay locked up in the vault. I can't send it down to storage, so it needs to stay here. Just like the other tabulator at the state.
Oh boy.
Anything else on that?
Not on the tabulator. Like I said, 3 of us are going down on Thursday. We'll get our keys, our combination, and then we can start training our own clerks that will be manning that. Obviously, I'll be down there that day with the people that we train. I want to talk about the possibility of changing the voting place. Pete and I went down and talked to the superintendent of the schools, Mr. Davis, and he showed us 2 really nice rooms. He showed us 4 places where we could store the equipment except for that. Our booths, our boxes, our blue boxes, anything that the state allows us to leave the building and lock somewhere else. He's offered us the east, the old junior high, Mesa Basic East is what it's called. It's a great place. It's handicapped accessible. We can have the flow that we need when it comes to voting. We should have a flow, which is like go in one door and go out another door. It's the gym. We've chose to take the gym. Handicapped accessible, warm. We won't be getting them gale force winds from the doors being open at the middle school. Middle school is a great place. It's a wonderful place, and I don't want to say it's like we want to leave because. But our issues there is those 2 doors need to stay open at all times. And then that November election, it was cold in there. Even though there was 400 or 500 people at one time, it was really cold in there. We ended up sending people up here to get skirts for the tables so the winds wouldn't blow underneath the girls, underneath the tables. That was one issue. They have gym all day long. They give us half the gym with a curtain, but they have gym all day long. The girls are running back and forth to the lockers. It's not as user-friendly as it could be.
Parking is an issue too.
Parking, that was on my list too. Parking's a really big issue. Our elderly people have to walk a very long way just to get into the building. And because we only have the 1 door, they go in the door and out the door. That's a real traffic jam up there. I mean, Bob will tell you, he played traffic cop at the end of the night for us just to get people moving through, and it was really tough at presidential. This would allow us to have a real flow design that the state wants us to have in the first place. Come in 1 door, go out the other door. Drop your ballot, go out the door.
And we have until September 6th to decide if we want to change the polling location.
Right, I need to, yes, I have a 60-day window. Basically, the 60 days allow the state to come down and move the fax machine and the phone line that they installed over here to the middle school and take it to the old junior high for us and set it up.
Nobody's going to be using that gym?
Nope, that's why we had a meeting with them. That will be our 2 days. And the great thing about it is we can go over on Monday and set up. We don't have to wait until 4:30 Monday afternoon to start setting up. Last time, Pete and Nora had a pickup. So we made 3 or 4 trips out of the back room in my vehicle and his vehicle just to get all the stuff over there.
What are they gonna have for internal security?
I have a locked closet with my own lock. Well, the town's lock. I shouldn't say my own lock, but a lock that's only accessible to whoever he gives permission to the keys.
And that's also gonna house the fax machine and the phone line?
Yes, it's going to have handicapped accessibility phone lines, yeah. The phone line will be there, but all that storage is going over there. So all of the booths, the phone, the fax line, my tables, my signs.
But anything of value, like a fax machine, you could bring back here and store.
It will be locked in the trunk to which it comes in and locked in the closet that they gave us. Anything the state says cannot be off-site won't be off-site.
Any questions for Yvette about this?
I mean, we're so much closer for parking.
Yeah, we don't need to wait till September to make a decision.
No. But I think we should have the administrator's input on this as well.
I went over and viewed it with him, and it looks like a slam dunk. I think you should do it. There's only going, to Gordon's question, there's only going to be one small class of kids in that wing of the building at that time. So that you're dealing with, I don't know, 15 to maybe 18 kids. That's
And they're
all
on the
you see
opposite end
all
of the
day
building.
long.
They won't be using the classroom right next to us because that's adult ed.
It's ROTC that uses the gym, right? Isn't that who's using that gymnasium mostly?
Mostly.
So from the front door over to that gym, coming in and out of there, be less than 20 kids all day long going through that traffic flow of voters. So
Unlike the probably a couple hundred that go through that gym right now that we're involved with.
I couldn't go with Yvette when she went, so I went the day after with the superintendent.
I mean, the only thing Mr. Davis said to me was we would do some type of contractual thing, so, you know, protects everybody, which is fine. I expected that. But there's no fees involved. It's still not going to cost the town anything. I mean, just housing the material, just housing, just being able to lock things up, be able to go over there on Monday afternoon, get everything all set up, test everything, make sure we're all set. Then Tuesday morning, all I have to do is bring the machine, the box, the ballots, and any absentee ballots. That's a big difference from what we've been doing.
So does anybody need more information before we take a vote on this? So what's the pleasure of the board? Hold on a second. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion that we approve the change of location for the polling place from the middle school to what is commonly known as Massapequa East or the Freshman Academy, or however we want to designate it, but to move it to that location.
Is there a second? Okay, any discussion?
Just, maybe I didn't hear this. What about the parking there? You got the circle going around to the front, but other than that, other than going in behind the school, which you can't get out without a jam, if you have a heavy voting period, is that going to be backing up to the street?
We have a huge parking lot off to the side. We probably can hold maybe 25 to 30 handicap cars in the front. That's a lot more than I had at the last school. I think Mr. Davis said that there was 150 to 200 lots out there, which is way more than we could ever have at one time.
And that wouldn't be used during school?
No, I asked that question because I was worried about the staff, because that's usually our problem here. And he said he would order all staff to park over to the administration office. So we would have all of the parking lot plus all of the handicap. The only time we wouldn't have the handicap parking is from 7:45 to 8:30 when the handicap bus comes. Then it leaves and comes back at 2 something. And it's just there to pick up kids and drop off kids, and then it leaves. So that's the only time that we'd have bus issues.
Could we see if we could block off one side of the curve there so there's always access for people exiting? You know, one side, parking on one side only, in other words? Because
There's a lot of dynamics that needs to be done now. Yeah. there's a lot of dynamics that need to be worked out now, that if we go with this, we need new signs, we need more signs, we need larger signs, we need advertising. There's a whole ball of wax of things that need to start happening. if this
That
is
you
what-
and Gary would work all of that out.
Yep.
I think my concern is that because it is further out of the way from a main drag, being 202, 4 or 5 or whatever, that it's gonna be imperative that you have sufficient signage to drive everybody to where they're gonna go.
Yeah, and Pete and I talked about that. We're gonna look at a little bit more in detail to it, but I said there's no sense in reinventing the wheel if we're not moving.
But, I mean, I think from a facility perspective, that's the thing to do. I mean, we used to hold town meetings there, but that was a number of years ago, and there's been voting down. It's not like it's the first time we've ever voted on that campus, right? We've had town meeting in the auditorium of the main high school and stuff, so I think it's probably a great opportunity, but we have an obligation as a town to make sure that we can get voters there and they know where it is.
Right, I agree. We thought, Pete and I talked about this last week, about maybe making maps for those that won't know. You know, just getting a map into our reporter, doing things like that, and start that ball rolling right now. 60 days before the election, we'll be here before I even know it. And we'll be deciding on if we're doing town ballots, and then we'll be running with that, so.
Could we also look at, I mean, we have a bus through recreation, right?
Yep.
And start publicizing that if people don't have transportation, elderlies or whatever, maybe not even elderly, but if they need a ride, we can give them that.
Like all the candidates for road commissioner years ago used to do. They used to run buses all day long, right?
All right, so we have a motion and we have a second. Bob, did you have a comment, or are you all set?
I'd like to say something on the ballot box.
All right, we'll get back to you then. So we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor of the motion?
5-0, thank you.
Okay? So you take care of that. What was your comment on the ballot box, Bob?
On the ballot box, you know, I've been working the polls since we voted by hand. And we've always said we should have 2 boxes. We did have 2 boxes a couple of times, but one of them always followed up somehow. That's why I say, boy, we should get the second box, not just one.
So that's going to look into that.
Do you want me to come?
I was just looking at results. They did a test in 2009. It processes 200 ballots per hour. It probably hasn't changed much.
200 per hour? That is not a lot.
So you want me to come back with the price of the next box?
Yeah, they didn't tell you the price of that one.
I know what the rental fee is on that. I don't know what the rental fee will be on the second one.
All right.
We're paying rent to the state for that box? So they didn't give it to us?
No, the state doesn't give us
well,
anything.
I
But with this, they're also going to program our flash drive, where we used to pay to program our flash drive.
So our polls are open 13 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to put 2,600 voters through. We got 4,800. It doesn't work.
It's gonna be long.
That's good. Get us some information. See you next week.
See you next week.
Also, find out if it's a program or is the same one that works at DHS.
Okay.
Worked on the Florida machines, right?
Anything else, Yvette?
Not for me.
Okay. So if we could plan on having you back in next week, and if you could get that information when you go to your training on Thursday, and come back and report to us on Tuesday.
Next week you can see the machine.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Selectmen's report. Start down at this end of the table, David.
Been a quiet week.
Good. John?
Community garden met last night in the garden, and talking about rules. And I think what they want to do is they want to keep it as simple as possible. But on the other hand, things that that some people would take for granted, other people don't. The example about bringing a dog into the garden area, they could easily start digging up the place, or other ways
Add
of
to the fertilization.
of possibly disturbing the garden. So they're starting to learn next year as to some of a list of rules that need to be followed. This year they also, they didn't write it down, but they didn't want pumpkins in there, and it probably are some in some patches. And the question was why? What's wrong with pumpkins? The problem is that they tend to draw attention. And sometimes around Halloween, people will want to get in there and take them. Other than that, they got a little garden out front with perennials, and they asked me to ask anybody that has some extra perennials, bulbs out there, and want to share them with us to bring them on in. So, other than that, things are going very well. If people have gone out and looked at the garden, there's a lot of harvesting going on right now.
Yeah. You know, it's you drive in and you think about what we looked at last year when you pulled into the parking lot here, and now you look at these beautiful gardens. It's just so, appealing now when you pull into the town hall.
Yeah, they've done a lot. In 1 year, they've done a lot.
One thing that I think you should discuss, though, is that sign that you have out there.
That should,
Yeah, there should be something a little more professional looking than that. Basically a handwritten sign with the word scrawled out and a big X through it, and it says now. If they could get something that's a little more conducive to the atmosphere of the garden out there. Just an observation. That's all.
Okay. Dennis?
What's up?
Gordon?
All set.
All right. We'll move on to the town administrator's report.
I'll be brief. You already heard information on contractors yesterday at the CDBG water line opening. I'll be at the sheriff's office tomorrow for an Old Home Days security review. Be the first one from me. In the afternoon at a health insurance, I guess what's next with Obamacare done by MMA tomorrow afternoon. Yvette, Nancy, and Bob Powers will be attending that training on that voting machine in Sanford this Thursday. And be out of town next week, Wednesday through Friday, for the annual town manager's gig. Matt, I've already confirmed, will be around if needed. I'll certainly be available on the phone at all times. The fire truck bid, you folks have been all over the, what do I want to call it? The brush truck, the forestry truck, one that we're replacing. The low bid was Clerk. Matt thought that was the best one, so he started the paperwork, getting the purchase and sale done. And we'll probably get a bill when he goes there tomorrow and pay them next week. And a question from the assessor. Is it okay with you folks if we set the tax rate next week? He's all ready to present that to you.
Might as well.
So the 1370, I think, was what you already knew.
That was the number that we kicked around a little bit, but we ought to take a look at.
Yep.
What that gives us for overlay, and
I think it was 230 and change.
So his number's done. I mean, as far as what the value is, I mean, I think there was still some.
He's done. He's ready to present to you. That way, tax bills could be out by mid-September at the very latest. After a commitment, probably during the week of August 19 to 23.
Okay.
Will the chair?
I'm all set, thank you.
Will the chair entertain a motion for an item to be added to the agenda at the conclusion of this meeting?
Would this be for an executive session?
Yes, it would.
I was going to ask for that next.
Can I just ask Gary something before?
Yep.
Can you? We had a policy that we put in place for when the audit would be done by Smith. I think now that we're through July and all the accruals and everything are done, we ought to be working towards that. We'd like to see the final audit here by mid-October, I think, so. And I just would like to kind of see that stimulated, that everybody's working towards that date.
I don't think they were coming in until next month, so.
Well, they might not have to, but I mean, the fact of the matter is that we had a very specific flow of timelines of And that has been adopted into the charter, so.
Yeah. And Ron said, we did talk to Ron,
Yeah.
and Ron said that that was very doable.
End of
getting an audit.
October
Yep.
for completion?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We had a request to add an executive session to the end of our meeting tonight. It would be 1 MRSA 4056A. So would there be a motion to add that to the agenda at the conclusion of our business meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? All right.
5-0, thank you.
Moving on, under new business, discuss vote on request from the 12-town group for legal fees. In your package, you saw the letter that came from the 12-town group requesting municipalities contribute funds to go towards a legal fee, a legal fund, based on the commissioner's censure of the budget committee members. The 12-town group has requested $453 from the town of Waterboro to go towards the legal fund.
I will move that we do not authorize that money.
Is there a second to that?
Well, I'd second it for the purpose of discussion, because that's why we really brought it back this week, was to air this out. And you weren't here last week, so we didn't feel that it was appropriate to air it out last week, so I'll second it just to get it discussed.
Okay, so then we'll go into discussion.
The reason, it feels to me that I understand where the budget committee is coming from, and not wanting to, or feeling that the commissioners are pressing something that is illegal. However, I feel that the commissioners could also probably come out to the towns and ask for money to hold up their position, and we could end up paying for a suit, kind of to sue each other. So I think that at this point, if it's illegal, we can go to our representatives and have them press the case. But I just think it's a waste of money at this point.
Well, you are paying for the county to move forward with all their legal fees. It's paid in the taxes that we pay to the county every year. They have a legal line item, and that's where they're taking the money from. Of course, they're not going to give any money to the budget committee for legal fees, but the county has their money there. The 12-town group has no resources to funds. If, with the commissioners voting to censure the budget committee, in essence what they have done is they have invalidated the budget committee. Because as we move forward to move to the next budget cycle and the committee starts taking votes on the budget, because the committee has been censured, the county commissioners cannot accept any votes that we make. So in essence, you can't pass a county budget because the budget committee has been censured, and so we cannot vote in the eyes of the commissioners.
I also sense that there's some personalities between the budget committee and the commission.
Mm-hmm.
that is maybe partially responsible for this action, and I don't know if the townspeople should get into paying for that dispute.
And there's no action that the legislation can take. I mean, the commissioners have voted to censure the budget committee. There's nobody else that can get involved in that. If the budget committee's been censured, the only step that the budget committee can take is to file an appeal with the Superior Court. And to do that, it costs money that the budget committee doesn't have.
Now, we have the county commissioners through state legislative action, I suppose, right? I mean,
They're elected by district.
Yeah. And the budget committee come about how?
The legislators used to have a York County delegation that did the county budget every year. About 20 years ago, they recognized they were never getting the budget done on time. The budget was supposed to be done at the beginning of the year, and oftentimes it was well into the spring or summer before they got the budget done. So the legislators created the statute that formed the York County Budget Committee, and the Budget Committee then became responsible for reviewing the commissioner's budget and approving it. We did have a legislator come in and speak, and I don't recall what her name was, but she was actually on the original bill to form the York County Budget Committee. And she said the intent of the legislators at the time that they formed the committee and wrote the statute was so that the Budget Committee was separate from the county commissioners, so that the municipalities had some oversight over the county budget. Because without that, the county commissioners could set the budget at whatever they want, pass the bill along to the municipalities, and the municipalities would have no say in it. By forming this budget committee, that's your checks and balances.
So the budget committee is elected or appointed or what?
The budget committee is elected by district. There's the annual caucus every year, and there's 3 members from each district that mirrors the commissioner's district. So there's 5 districts. There's 3 members from each district. 2 members have to be elected officials, and 1 member is an at-large public member, and they are elected by municipal officials.
But there is no budget for the budget committee?
No.
Which I think is part and parcel of where I'm coming from. Is I don't have a problem with saying that we should fund the budget committee for some operational expenses, right? If part of that is a legal fee, then there's a legal resources, then it should be legal resources. Problem is now the horse is out of the barn on this one, right? And we've got some emotion, and we've got opinions, and certainly, even, in John's latest note, all he's really saying is the budget committee is less effective if it's censured. We don't know that they're going to reverse any of those decisions, but the potential is there for them to do that. So I'm on the fence on this one. I don't think that the commissioners should have the right to do and subvert the budget committee's activities, but I think that part and parcel of this should have never got to this point to begin with, and I lay that off a little bit onto personalities, but that's neither here nor there. It's done. So I feel that there are personalities involved here. There's been some headbutting between the budget committee and the commissioners. I think some committee members and some commissioners than others. And it seemed to have started about 4 or 5 years ago when there was some monies that commissioners were getting some benefits. The monies were removed. The commissioners were getting 100% paid health care insurance at the same time that they laid off 25 staff members. That seemed to be where a lot of the headbutting came in. It became the budget committee, and that was before I was on the budget committee, took some money out, and then the commissioners decided that they weren't going to fund social services anymore. So is there some personalities involved there? Absolutely. I try not to get involved in that. But that is a piece of it. If I thought that this would be resolve this so it's a black and white issue, I would be all for this. I'm not sure that that's going to happen.
I don't either, but I do feel the commissioners need to be slapped. I do, to put it very bluntly. I mean, they have some very strong personalities there, and basically they have told communities to, they're going to do what they want to do. Yeah. And I don't think that's right. So if this budget committee has some middle ground, then I will support that.
Gordon, did you have any?
I respect the opinions, but I'm in agreement with David. I think that they need to be held to a standard where they're going to listen to and be compelled to listen to the municipalities that contribute funds to run county government. And there needs to be a system of checks and balances. They cannot have carte blanche to do what they want to do and just impose their will on the municipalities. So if it comes down to, a decision to fund, then I'm in agreement with David. But I also see the other side too. There are some definite headbutting between the leadership, or the so-called leadership of the county commissioners and the budget committee. And however it came to pass, throughout the years, whether it was a decision made that one side or the other didn't like, or whatever, the situation's there, and that needs to be flushed out and mediated, or else the battle that would ensue from that is going to continue long after. And I don't want to be throwing good money after bad, but if it takes a little bit of money to get the job done, then so be it. But,
a couple of things. The budget committee has reached out to the commissioners on a number of occasions asking, let's have a sit down and iron out our differences. There were 3 letters that were totally ignored by the commissioners. Finally, the commissioners said, you know what, let's sit down and have a talk. And the committee members showed up at this meeting, and instead it was the county commissioner's attorney there that lectured to the budget committee about why we were a committee of the county of York and not a municipal committee, and why we had to sign an ethics policy. There isn't anybody on the board that was opposed to signing an ethic policy. As a matter of fact, the committee adopted their own that mirrors what the county commissioners put out, except for the language that the attorney said is illegal, and that's the language that allows the county commissioners to vote to overturn some of the budget committee's decisions.
The question I have is, what is a censure? The censure, from what I understand, they do not have the power in censuring to cease the committee's ability to meet and to make decisions on the budget. That's a legislative act. So the censure, in a sense, the way I see it, is a slap on the hand and a political move that has no clout. And so why would we take that to court?
Because in the policy that the county commissioners have written, John, they've said that if there's a censure, then what that boils down to is that they could say, we're not going to acknowledge the votes of a committee because it's been censured. That's what the commissioners have written in their policy. So the commissioners may choose not to do anything. They may choose to ignore any votes of the committee.
And if they develop a budget, the budget committee meets and comes up with an alternative. Now you got, and now if they don't act on it, now you can say that they are not following the legislation. But when they say censure you and say you didn't agree to our code of ethics, then I'm not sure you have anything.
Oops. So is there any more discussion? So the motion on the table is to not fund the $453 that's been requested, and it was seconded for discussion. So all those in favor of not contributing to the legal fund? All those opposed? All right, so we've won 4. So is there another motion on the table?
Make a motion that we support the budget committee of $453.
second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you. Next, discuss vote on Maine Municipal Association's annual election for vice president and executive committee members. So you have in your packet the ballot.
I would move that we endorse the candidates, the 1 of 1 and the 3 of 3 on the ballot.
So it's Marston Lovell for vice president. James, I have no idea, Chasousis, Linda Cohen, and Mary Sibbins. So we have a motion, is there a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
I vote, I don't know any about
Yeah, I'm going to abstain because I don't know these individuals at all.
Okay.
So 3-0 and
I'll go with them, yeah.
You voting yes or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have a right to abstain just because you don't know somebody.
I'll vote no then.
All right, so we have 4
4
and
or
1.
1.
Nope, 4 and 1.
4
He's
1?
voting no.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I do know Marston level.
Yep. All right. Moving on, under old business, we don't have any old business. Under other, I'd entertain a motion to sign the minutes of July 30th's regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? And I'm abstaining, I wasn't here.
Gordon, you were up on that, I assume?
Yes, fingers went up.
Okay.
It wasn't a demonstrative, yes, it was just a...
I wasn't looking, I was writing.
Pending decisions, discuss making policy changes relative to the use of social media. Gordon's working on that. We have the town charter change to establish a public works department. That's David and Gary working on that. And we have the forest management plan that we're going to need to make a decision on. When's everybody going to be ready to discuss that again?
Well, I think it's a matter of not just the, it's really, do we embrace the, which I think that he did a great job and everything, but I think it has to be, do we have somebody come do all of this work in 1 year? Do we phase it over 2 or 3 years? I think it didn't matter to him one way or the other, but the fact of the matter is that I think we probably need to, and I would, so we now have a conservation committee, we have got some other folks involved. It might be nice to have a roundtable discussion to say, how do we go forward with, the other thing that we brought up last week was pulling out, the inventory of the other municipal properties. I think it's time that we take a look at, should those be incorporated into a forest management plan? There are some other things that need to be done, right? So I think it's just bigger than saying, yeah, I vote for the plan or I don't vote for the plan. I think it's what's in the best interest over the municipality, and I think part of that probably has to have Gary's input relative to putting his arms around this a little bit, because it's an asset that the town's got to manage. Right?
So, with your schedule the way it is, if we did a workshop on the 27th, invited the Conservation Commission to come in and just had a discussion about this, Gary, would that give you time to research it and?
Yeah, I can talk to him, I can do most of that on the phone. I mean, I'd be happy to walk the property, but I probably won't. I mean, he's a forester, I'm not, so I'm gonna go with his professional judgment of what percent should be cut. I mean, it's fairly straightforward. He made good sense when he was here. I haven't read the plan yet. I don't think I need
Yeah,
to
I think,
take his
I think we probably could bring in the road commissioner in, because it does affect the town pit area. I think we need to bring Clint in.
Yep.
It does affect, the future size or operation of the transfer station.
I would think that the 2020
I mean, it might be an opportunity.
Looking at it because we're looking at.
They were looking at some property.
Long-term plan of the town.
So, might be good to invite a whole bunch of folks in to have that discussion.
We'll sit down and kind of come up with an invite list.
Good.
Now, also, because they have done this study for us, does that limit us using them exclusively for harvesting? I mean, you're talking a substantial amount of money here.
Well, I think his issue was he would, based on what his plan would, he would market. Certainly, they have relationships in the industry to have it harvested, but they're not in the harvesting business. They're in the tree management.
The land trust had Brian do some study on some of the properties that the land trust owned, and he's not the one that cleared it afterwards. We actually had it done with horses.
I just think there's several guys out there that do this work, and
I mean, it
it's
would
a pretty
be-
big piece of property. I think it's the income could vary.
Yeah.
Put it out to bid.
Yeah, it would be part of our bid
Yeah.
process.
And whether we do it in 1 or 3 years depends, I think, on the market at the particular time on where we're gonna get the most return, on our investment.
You can leave that up to him in your motion. I mean, if the market's down and when winter conditions arrive here, then give him the latitude to say, no, this winter for this piece or that species, and do it a year after.
Yeah, and I think what he didn't bring to the table was a recommendation on multiple year harvesting, or it was like, okay, this is everything that could be done, right? And his recommendation is you should go harvest it, right?
Right.
So maybe
Right.
there's plenty of money there, there's plenty, and we should engage him maybe a little further to say, okay, give us if this was your property, would you do it all in one shot, or would you manage it over the next 10 years?
Well, maybe we'll see if we can get him to come back in on the
I think
27th
he's
too.
more than
And
willing to come and do whatever we want to do.
I think we're in agreement that it should be harvested as part of the management. It's just how that harvest takes place.
Yeah.
Whether it's incrementally or all at once.
So we'll plan doing a workshop on the 27th. That should give us plenty of time to invite folks in to participate in that. The week's action list.
As a follow-up to this same general thing, Lee Burnett, is it not Burnett? Lee what?
Yeah, Lee
What's his
Burnett.
name?
Yeah, Lee Burnett.
I mean, he has offered to come in, we've spoken about this, and
I think Christina has an appointment for
He
him to
does,
come in.
okay,
She's
alright.
contacted him, and there were a couple of different dates
okay.
that they were throwing back and forth.
Right.
So, discussion of agenda items for next week. We'll have Yvette coming back in to talk about potentially a second machine. Any other questions about the voting location and whatnot. We'll be setting the tax rate next week. And anything else that anyone wants to discuss?
CDBG, you gotta get out your pen here and sign lots of
Yep,
things.
I've got that.
Okay, sorry.
Could you tell us to report back to us from the 12-town group as to which towns have supported the legal action of the budget committee and which towns have not?
Yep. Okay.
I think the other thing that we need to, whether we do it initially or certainly I think as Gordon tries to put together the public safety committee, there needs to be a discussion relative to what started to take place with the sheriff in the future of law enforcement in this municipality. While we were sitting here, I looked at Buxton's. They have a total public safety budget of $1.5 million, which includes their police department and the fire department and their EMS. So I guess my question is, how can they do for $1.5 million in a municipality that has more people? What we're doing for $1 million, or not quite $1 million in public safety, but close, when you add the contract deputy in there. So they've got 10 employees in the PD? Is that what Sean said?
10 patrol officers, and then they have their support staff and
Anyway,
administration.
I kind of have sent a note to Matt saying, hey, what's fire and what's PD out of that? So he was going to try to, he just sent me a note back and said he would try to get that. But I think that has to be a discussion.
Talk to the chief and other chief over there.
It has to be a discussion, I think, as we go forward and into this budgeting year, know whether or not it's this year or next year or whatever, but you know, it has to be at some point in time, a
When
discussion.
the sheriff and I was speaking at town meeting, and one of the offers that he made was if we wanted to sit down and say, what would it cost if Waterboro got its own police department of, say, you know, whatever the number is, say it's 6, versus hiring 6 contract deputies, pros, cons, costs, and he was willing to participate.
Well, again, I
so.
think at some point, that's something that Gary and the staff and whatnot have to ferret out here, but, or if we've got a public safety committee established at the time, I think that gives an great opportunity to
So-
ferret that out, but it needs to be ferreted out.
So should we put that under pending decisions? I mean, we don't have a public safety committee right now.
No, I don't think it has to be, you know,
In a sense we do, because we do
We
have
have
one
one.
person on it.
But I wouldn't say that we need to have it as a pending decision at this point. I think it's just something that's gotta be on the radar.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, I heard Gordon talk about that. Gordon, if you do go over there, if you wouldn't mind me tagging along to Buxton,
Oh, no, that's fine.
I'd love to go listen.
I just find it
Want to ride in
interesting.
the back of my bike?
No,
No, you don't want to tag, you don't want to tag along like that.
No, Buxton has an annual budget that's probably $1.5 million less than ours. And $1 million, and all typically is around their education, so. They're taking $1 million that they're not spending on education and putting it somewhere else. Even their public works department is a couple $100,000 less than what our annual budget is, and they've got
Trucks and everything
they
else.
got trucks and everything else, so something's wrong somewhere. Either that or they got, and I'm not certainly holding Buxton up as the gold standard, but something's different.
All right. Items needing signature, the minutes of July 23rd. Shouldn't it be July 30th?
that should be July 30th.
Yeah. So the minutes of July 30th, the GA ordinance amendment, we have the Maine Municipal Association's ballot, and there's also several documents in here for the community development block grant that need to be signed. Reminders, Wednesday, August 7th at 7 p.m. Planning board meeting was canceled. Thursday, August 8th at 11:30 a.m. at the Snowmobile Club is the senior luncheon. August 10th is the cribbage tournament here at Town Hall at 8:30. Monday, August 20th at 5:15 p.m. is the 2020 Master Planning Committee at Central Station. Also Monday at 6:30 is the 12 Town Group. And at 7 p.m. is the Cemetery Committee at the Old Town Hall. Tuesday, August 13th at 6 p.m. is the Selectmen's meeting, and reporting out will be the treasurer, the tax collector, and the motor vehicle agent. Wednesday, August 14th at 6 p.m. the Road Review Committee is meeting, and Tuesday, August 20th, the Selectmen's meeting with reports from the contract deputy, fire department, and EMA. So I would entertain a motion to go into executive session in about 5 minutes per 1 MRSA 4056A regarding a personnel matter.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? And we'll adjourn after that, so thank you.